On this episode of the Turnbuckle, the Elite tease an appearance at Full Gear, AEW is set for their first UK tour in 2023, and Freddie Prinze Jr. has some comments to make about NXT. Folks, it's time to hit a meat hook clothesline into some wrestling news because it's time for the Turnbuckle. The latest tease from the Elite indicates they may appear at AEW Full Gear on November 19th. Wednesday's tease had images of the Full Gear graphics shown as pictures from the Elite's past were shown in rapid... Wednesday's tease had images of the Full Gear graphics shown as pictures from the Elite's past were shown in rapid succession. Okay, so I'm not crazy. That is literally how it is written. From the Elite's past were shown in rapid succession. It's that we're missing a word. Okay. As well as images from the trio growing up. A clock was shown starting to tick towards the end of the video. Teasers for the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega's return have been shown in recent weeks on AEW television. The first promo showed pictures of big moments in AEW history. The trio was involved in. Okay, but in each still frame, they were shown vanishing, with the final image showing the AEW logo disappearing. Man, you gotta fix your typos, man. I already can't read as it is, so when you leave certain words out, my brain, I just fall over myself. It is the worst. All right. So, for those of you who don't know, yes, the Elite have been teasing a sort of return, and I just don't care. That's pretty much the long and short of it. I really do not care that the Elite are coming back. And the reason why I don't care is because I feel like I already know what is going to happen when they return. All they're going to do is come back and they're going to do some like cheeky hint towards CM Punk and towards the All Out Brawl and yada yada. I already know what's going to happen. Like, it's not fun. Like, in certain instances, okay, if you know what's going to happen, it's fun. Sometimes the one thing that you actually want to have happen, right? When it does happen, that's actually like what you're looking for, okay? Other times, you know, sometimes the thing that you want to have happen doesn't happen. And I mean, not every single time that's going to be great, but it's not going to be the end of the world. But when it comes to stuff like this, right? Especially when it comes to the Elite, I'm just not over the moon about them because I already know that when they come back, it's going to be, how long, place your bets right now, how long do you think the Elite are going to go without any gold around their waist after they come back? How long do you think it's going to be? A week? 2 weeks? If they go longer than a month, I will genuinely be surprised. But there's no way that the three of them all together are not going to go an entire month without chasing some type of gold. And yeah, you could argue that it's the Elite and they're the greatest, whatever, all right, who cares? But the fact that it's like Goldberg, it's like Brock Lesnar, like, just because they're back and everybody, and they're like, really, who cares? Who cares? I feel like you're disrupting the ecosystem just a tad, just a little bit. But that's just me, man, at the end of the day, to be honest with you. Am I upset that they're coming back? No, I'm not upset that they're coming back. I'm glad they're back. I'm glad everything that happened is finally, like, you know, glazed over. We don't have to worry about it anymore. That's not my issue. My issue is just that they're coming back, and I really don't care because when they do come back, all they're going to do is go, super kick, one winged angel, and now we're the trios champions again. That's pretty much, that is my main gripe. All they're going to do is come back and go, we want those, and then they're going to sneeze and then have them. Tony Khan, I highly doubt anything is going to stop Tony Khan from literally just stripping, Death Triangle of the trios titles and then just giving it back to them and going, oh, technically you guys never lost it. I just stripped the titles off of you, so I could just give it back. Look, I just have this weird inkling that nothing is going to stop Tony Khan from doing that. You know, so honestly, man, at the end of the day, I don't know. I just feel like it's supposed to be like this big monumentous, you know, hype, you know what I'm saying? And they've got the hype packages and, oh, what is the stupid thing where they're like disintegrate? What does that even mean? I mean, I'm sure we're going to find out, but I feel like I feel like I'm supposed to be getting some type of like serious vibe, like, ooh, what does this mean? You know, I don't care. You know, I couldn't give a toss about what's happening. So, I don't know, man. Next, AEW is set for their first outing to the UK next year. AEW fans in the UK have a treat next year following a recent announcement. Tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite saw Tony Schiavone reveal that the organization will have its first live event in the United Kingdom in 2023. There have been rumors of AEW making its way to the UK ever since the company's inauguration in 2019. It seems fans will finally be able to enjoy a UK show next year. An official announcement would be made next week regarding AEW's UK debut, followed by more details. Many have stated that the venue is most likely to be held in Craven Cottage, the home of Fulham FC, the football team of which Tony Khan is vice chairman. Dave Meltzer stated in the September 26th edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that most likely would occur during the summer 2023 in the aforementioned venue. There are many wrestlers from the UK in the AEW roster, including recent debutant Saraya, Jamie Hayter, Anthony Ogogo, and AEW's first ever double champion, Pac. Okay, there we go. British AEW stars would love to put on a show on their home turf. For more updates, stay tuned to Ringside News. You don't have to do that. I just felt like I should include that. But no, this is actually very big news. This is actually a very big deal. And for those who live in the UK, I'm sure this means a lot to them because I watch a lot of UK-related wrestling shows. Shouts out Cultaholic and Wrestle Talk, okay? And I understand their gripes with when some of the pay-per-views come on, and they're always complaining about, rightfully so, by the way, but they're always going on about how they're up until like 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, especially like WrestleMania and stuff, so like their sleep schedule gets absolutely destroyed whenever those pay-per-views come on. So I understand why they would be really happy about this type of news, because now they don't really have to worry too much about any type of scheduling conflicts or anything like that. And obviously, AEW's been going all over the world, not all over the world, but they've been going all over the US and everything like that, right? And they've been like doing a bunch of different shows, and they've got Daly's Place in Florida and stuff like that. So something like this is actually a very, very big deal when it comes to just more viewers and how they're expanding and everything like that. And I always like to hear about how companies like this are always expanding in many different ways. And I especially like hearing about like the TV deals and stuff like that, the TV deals that they get so that more people can watch them and stuff, So at the end of the day, this is actually a very prominent thing, and I'm actually very happy to hear about this. I know that I as well as a lot of people are very excited to hear about, this sort of thing. And really, at the end of the day, I can't wait to see what AEW has in store. So it seems like next week they're gonna have more details. I'm sure they're gonna have a UK themed pay-per-view and that sort of stuff. I'm sure they're probably gonna have some sort of themed, it's probably gonna be a themed pay-per-view, and then it's probably, or because it's Tony Khan, it's probably just gonna be one themed Dynamite, and that's pretty much it. Sorry, I don't know if they're gonna have some sort of specifically themed, premium live event, but only time will tell, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what they say, folks. Finally, Freddie Prinze Jr. talks about NXT and how he says it's like a grade school theater production. On his Wrestling with Freddie podcast, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. has had harsh criticisms of the current NXT product and compared it to watching a grade school theater production, only not as good. The blocking is just 4 people standing in a line. There was 2 guys, I think 2 Australian guys, Braun Breaker and someone else. Everyone is just standing in a line across from each other, and everybody's just talking with their face to camera. There was nothing organic, good, or remotely decent about it. Freddie Prinze Jr. brought up on his podcast that he was unsure whether the segment involving reigning NXT champion Braun Breaker, NXT champion Pretty Deadly, and NXT tag team champions Pretty Deadly and Wesley were supposed to be funny, going far to comparing it to a guilty pleasure film like Showgirls, or if the whole thing was just horribly produced. Prinze Jr. also focused on an incident involving WWE veteran R-Truth and Grayson Waller, which forced him to change the channel after Truth got hurt during the pair's scheduled match. Then I saw R-Truth come out, and I don't know whose fault this is, Prinze Jr. said. I don't know if he blew his knee when he jumped out of the ring, or if the guy that's supposed to catch him was just watching and didn't. I watched it a few times now. It's hard to watch. There was no effort to catch Truth whatsoever. That was the last part of NXT that I watched. Now, in a way, I do agree with him, because there's a lot of different things on NXT, right? And there's a lot of different characters on NXT, and there's a lot of different ways that they present the show to you. I like the first thing I thought of, right, was the cinematic opening to Alba Fire and Mandy Rose's women's championship match, where they were at like, I don't even remember where they were. They were like some sort of spooky thingy house guy, whatever. And then they got attacked by zombies. And then Alba Fire like loaded Mandy Rose up in her car and then drove her all the way to the pay-per-view. You know, like and then there's like Chase U. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. He's over like Rover. But like, am I supposed to be finding him funny, or am I supposed to not like? I like him. I don't see anything wrong with him. But like, it's I don't know what the initial, like, I don't know what like the factory emotion is that I'm supposed to be feeling when I see him, because I assume I'm supposed to be upset by him. I assume he's a heel, right? Like Scripps, for those of you who don't know who this guy is, Scripps is like some sort of creepy dude who leaves like very impending messages on the Performance Center's voicemail, but he talks in rhymes. And recently he not recently, but the last time I saw him, he went up to like the front door of the Performance Center and wrote his name in, he spray painted his name. And then after he committed the crime, he then sprayed the camera. So it's like, not only do we see what you did, but then you sprayed the camera, so now that's adding more onto your sentence. I don't know, man. Like, NXT is a weird place, because it was initially a developmental, it was initially a game show, and then it moved on to a more like serious developmental brand, and then it got rebranded, and now it's like this weird campy version parody of itself. And everybody was like, oh, NXT is supposed to be on par with Raw and SmackDown, and then Triple H went on camera and was like, it's not supposed to be that, it's meant to be developmental. And then Vince McMahon was like, we don't want you wrestling like that. And now that Vince McMahon is gone, Shawn Michaels and Triple H are being like, hey, we want you guys to wrestle like your indie selves. So it's like, is it developmental? Because if it's developmental, that means you're teaching people how to wrestle, but you're getting indie guys who already know how to wrestle. So it's not really a developmental brand, is it? Because everybody kind of knows what they're doing already. I don't actually know what's going on here, to be totally honest with you. I don't actually know. I don't necessarily know how I'm supposed to be feeling about this. I understand his gripes, with NXT and everything. So honestly, man, at the end of the day, he's got like a bit of a point. To be honest with you, his gripes are valid in the sense of like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be feeling about this, but I mean, to be fair, you kind of have to understand that NXT isn't for everybody. If you remember, NXT's demographic was like 66-year-olds, so maybe I'm just too much of a millennial for this type of thing. You know what I mean? Maybe I should be taking my Metamucil and my one-a-day vitamin, and then I'll actually be able to get it. I don't actually know, to be totally honest with you. So at the end, realistically though, to be serious though, it is genuinely not for everyone. And if you don't like it, that doesn't really mean too much about you or your character, and it doesn't really mean too much about like how you feel or anything like that. So if you want to watch it, sure, and if you don't want to watch it, that's totally fine. It's not really a drastic change. What do we talk about? The Young Bucks could be appearing at AEW Full Gear. I don't care. I feel like I should. Like the whole NXT thing. Like, I feel like I should be feeling something about this, and I just don't. I feel like there's a very specific emotion I'm supposed to be having for this, and I just can't really be bothered to, give a shit, to be honest with you. Like, because I just feel like they're gonna come back, and they're just gonna smick, smack, smock, and that's it, and they're gonna win the titles. And if that's the case, man, that's so boring. Like, go against the grain, do something crazy. Have one of them, like, kayfabe, have one of them die. Just something so wild that it does nothing but generate buzz. Like, oh, I didn't think they were gonna do this. Like, bro, everyone knows when they come back they're just gonna win the titles again. Everyone knows that. And there's gonna be people that are like, I want them to win the titles though, because they're the greatest wrestler in the entire universe, and Kenny Omega is absolutely amazing, and I would let him have my shot. Like, okay, all right, great. Kenny Omega is absolutely fantastic. I'm not denying that, and I'm not saying that I don't like them, but I just don't care that they're coming back. AEW is going to the UK. Great. I'm so excited for this. I'm not even in the UK, and I'm just happy about this, just because I like hearing about the expansion of certain companies and everything, and it's just really fun to see. And Freddie Prinze Jr. has some comments to make about NXT, folks. He's got his gripes, and those gripes are particularly valid, and you know, he's got a point in the sense of, like, I don't necessarily know what I'm watching, and I don't know how I'm supposed to be feeling when I'm watching it, you know. But again, like I said, if it's not your cup of tea, that's not really the major issue, and maybe it just means that you like watching other stuff. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.